Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ankita Jain from DSPSR New Delhi. Today we are going to talk on module Wages and Salary Administration, Principle of Wages and Salary Administration, Essentials of Sound Wages and Salary Administration, Factors Affecting Wages and Salary Administration from paper Human Resource Management. A sound wage and salary administration tries to achieve these objectives. A. For employees, employees are paid according to requirements of their jobs, that is, highly skilled jobs are paid more compensation than low skilled jobs. This eliminates inequalities. The chances of favoritism which creep in when wage rates are assigned are greatly minimized. Job sequence and lines of promotion are established, they are applicable. Employees' morale and motivation are increased because a wage program can be explained and is based upon facts. The employers, they can systematically plan for and control their labor costs. In dealing with a trade union, they can explain the basic of their wage program because it is based upon a systematic analysis of job and wage facts. A wage and salary administration reduces the likelihood of friction and grievance over wage inequalities. It enhances an employee's morale and motivation because adequate, fairly administered wages are basic to his wants and needs. It attracts qualified employees by ensuring an adequate payment for all the jobs. Introduction. Compensation administration is always a vexing issue to the HR managers in the management of human resources. They always strive to develop compensation packages that satisfy the interest of both the organization and the employees. But it is a tough and challenging task for any HR manager as there is an inherent conflict of interest between the management and the labor over the sharing of the earnings of the organization. Human resources are unique and precious for any organization. In fact, this is only resource that is involved in each and every activity of an organization. Certainly, the survival and growth of an organization is critically linked to performance and commitment of its workforce. It is thus necessary for the organization to keep the employees satisfied and motivated on a sustained basis. Effective compensation policies and practices constitute major HR-oriented approach for achieving the desired level of employee morale and organizational effectiveness. One of the biggest factors affecting industrial relations is the salary or wage the compensation an employee receives for a fair day's work. Majority of union management disputes relate to remuneration. Employee compensation therefore influences vitally the growth and profitability of the company. For employees, pay is more than a means of satisfying their physical needs. It provides them a sense of recognition and determines their social status. Remuneration is directly or indirectly one of the mainsprings of motivation is our society. Therefore, wage and salary administration refers to establishment and implementation of sound policies and practices of employee compensation. It includes such areas as job evaluation, survey of wage and salaries, analysis of relevant organizational problems, development and maintenance of wage structure, establishing rules for administering wages, wage payment incentives, benefits including health insurance, profit sharing, wage changes and adjustments, supplementary payments, control of compensation costs, and other related items. Meaning and definition. Administration of employee compensation is called compensation management or wage and salary administration. It involves to wages, salaries, and other forms of employee compensation. It includes job evaluation, wage or salary survey, development and maintenance of wage structure, rules for administration of wages, profit sharing, and other incentives and control of payroll costs. The basic purpose of wage and salary administration is to establish and maintain an equitable wage and salary structure and an equitable labor cost structure. Compensation management is a complex, non-transactional process which includes decisions regarding benefits and variable pay. An employee's total compensation consists of four components. The relative proportion of each component in the total compensation varies from firm to firm. The first largest component is base compensation, which means the fixed pay an employee receives on a regular basis, either in form of a salary or as a wage. The second component is allowance such as house rent allowance, HRA, dearness allowance, DA, and city compensation allowance, CCA. Third component is incentive pay designed to reward employees for good performance. Example, performance-linked bonus, share in profit, etc. Fourth component consists of benefits or indirect compensation or perquisites such as company accommodation, company car, paid holiday, club membership, stock options, and so on. Objectives of compensation administration. Equity in compensation. The primary objective of compensation administration is to ensure internal and external equity in the payment of salary and other benefits to the employees. Internal equity refers to the payment of equal compensation for jobs of similar nature and worth within the organization. The organization should determine the worth of each job through a job evaluation process. Enhancing individual and organizational efficiency. Achieving the desired level of individual and organizational efficiency is also an objective of compensation administration schemes. Every organization considers compensation as an effective instrument to fulfill the organizational goals and objectives by enhancing the productivity, performance, and commitment of the employees. Employee motivation and retention. Retaining the existing employees is another objective of the compensation programs. A well-designed compensation scheme motivates the employees and facilitates the retention of the best employee for a long time in the organization. Goodwill in the labor market. Encouraging the best candidates to apply for the job vacancies and to make them accept the job offers issued by the organization after successful selection in another objective of compensation administration. Through an effective compensation policy, an organization can create a highly positive image of itself in the labor market. Adherence to laws and regulations. Complying with the prevailing laws and regulations and legislation of the country of operation is another objective of the compensation administration system. A sound compensation system would normally consider the challenges and constraints imposed by the government on compensation management. Controlling the HR cost. Any compensation administration aims at keeping the HR cost well under control. Certainly, a good compensation policy would neither overpay its employees. In fact, an effective compensation policy would reasonably satisfy the divergent needs and aspirations of both the employees and the employers. improving industrial relations. An effective compensation administration scheme intends to improve the labor management relations in the firm. In many organizations, compensation is the major source of conflict between the management and labor unions. Principles of wage and salary administration. They are generally accepted principles governing the fixation of wage and salary are: first, there should be definite plan to ensure that difference in pay for jobs are based upon variations in job requirements such as skill effort, responsibility, or job or working conditions, and mental and physical requirements. Second, the general level of wage and salaries should be reasonably in line with that prevailing in the labor market. The labor market criteria is most commonly used. Third, the plan should carefully distinguish between jobs and employees. A job carries a certain wage rate and a person is assigned to fill it at that rate. Exceptions sometimes occur in very high-level jobs in which the job holder may make the job large or small depending upon its ability and contributions. Equal pay for equal work. If two jobs have equal difficulty requirements, the pay should be same, regardless of two who fills them. Fifth, an equitable practice should be adopted for recognition of individual differences in ability or contribution. For some units, this may take the form of rate range. Within grade increases, in other it may be a wage incentive plan, in still other it may take the form of closely integrated sequences of job promotion. Sixth, there should be a clearly established procedure for hearing and adjusting wage complaints. This may be integrated with the regular grievance procedure it is exists. Seventh, the employees and the trade unions, if there is one, should be informed about the procedure used to establish wage rate. Every employee should be informed of his own position and of the wage and salary structure. The wage should be sufficient to ensure for the worker and his family reasonable standard of living. Workers should receive a guaranteed minimum wage to protect them against conditions beyond their control. Ninth, the wage and salary structure should be flexible so that changing conditions can be easily met. 10th, prompt and correct payment of the dues of the employees must be ensured and arrears of payment should not accumulate. 11th, for revision of wages, a wage committee should always be preferred to the individual judgment, however unbiased, or a manager. 12th, the wage and salary payment must fulfill a wide variety of human needs, including the needs for self-actualization. It has been recognized that money is the only form of incentive which is wholly negotiated, appealing to the widest possible range of seekers. Monetary payment often acts as a motivator and satisfiers interdependently to the other job factors. 13. Wage policy should be developed keeping in view the interest of the employer and the employees, the consumers, and the community. Wage policy should be stated clearly in writing to ensure uniform and consistent application. 15. Wage and salary plans should be consistent with the overall plans of the company. Wage and salary plans should be sufficiently flexible or responsive to the changes in internal and external conditions of the organization. 17. Management should ensure that employees know and understand the wage policy of the companies. Workers should be associated formulation and implementation of wage policy. 18. All wage and salary decisions should be checked against the standards set in advance in wage policy. 19. Wage and salary plans should be simply an expedite administration process. 20. An adequate database and a proper organizational setup should be developed for compensation, determination, and administration. Essential of sound wage and salary administration. The main requirements of a sound structure of base compensation are as follows. Internal equity. It implies a proper relationship between wages paid for different jobs within the company. Pay differentials should be related directly to differentials in job requirements. Fair pay differentials between jobs can be established with the help of job evaluation. Job evaluation helps to determine relative worth of a job. It is useful in eliminating widely varying wages for jobs of equal difficulty. It also minimizes wage differentials on the basis of sex, religion, caste, etc. Thus, the relationship of wages and salaries paid for different jobs is just as important for good personal relations as is the firm's general level of wages. External competitiveness. Wages and salaries in the organization should be in line with wages and salaries for comparable job in the other organizations. Otherwise, the organization may not be able to attract and retain competent personnel. Data relating to pay levels in other organizations can be collected through wage and salary survey. Built-in incentives. Wage or salary plan should contain a built-in incentive so as to motivate employees to perform better. Such an incentive can be developed through performance-based payment. A part of the total payment should be linked to individual or group performance. Link with productivity. Some part of the total pay should be linked to productivity. Such linkage is necessary because workers expect a share in productivity gains, thus will also help to control labor costs. Maintain real wage. At least a part of the increase in the cost of living should be neutralized so as to protect the wages of labor. Dearness allowance is used in India for this purpose. Increments. Compensation policy can be good motivates if pay increases are linked with merit, but annual increments should partly be linked to seniority or years of service. The logic for seniority based increments is that a person accumulates experience, his skills get sharpened, and his efficiency tends to increases. Reward for desired performance and behavior. Pay levels should be fixed in such a way that they reward the employees adequately whenever they come up with the targeted performance level and behavior. They should also be capable of sustaining the employee's willingness to continue with the same performance and behavior in the future too. Legal compliance. The pay structure of an organization must be in compliance with the prevailing laws and regulations of the country. It should also implement the recommendations of the statutory wage boards in time-bound manner. The organization should incorporate the relevant provisions of the Minimum Wages Act 1948, Payment of Wages Act 1936, Industrial Dispute Act 1947, Equal Remuneration Act 1976, and other relevant acts in its compensation policy. Reconciling individual and organizational interest. The pay structure should serve not only the interest of the employees but also the organizational interest. There must be due regard for the long-term interest of the organization while fixing the pay scale of the employees. The pay structure must have the capacity to attract the right employees at a reasonable cost of the organization. To reduce the financial burden of the organization, a good portion of employees' pay may be linked to their performance and productivity. Factors affecting compensation are of two types: external factors and internal factors. External factors. The external factors remain outside the purview of an organization and yet influence its compensation administration. In fact, most of the factors influencing compensation administration are external. First, labor market conditions. The difference between the demand for specific categories of employees and their supply in the labor market influences the compensation administration decisively. When the demand for labor exceeds its supply, there would be a labor shortage. In such a situation, the organizations are forced to offer higher rates of compensation to get the required number of suitable employees. This is because the people possessing the required skills should obviously demand more compensation for their services. Second, labor legislations. Labor laws and regulations normally have a specific influence on the wage and salary administration of an organization. Generally, the legislation enacted by the central and the state governments regulates the minimum wages and bonus payable to the employees, the workloads and the working hours. Third, comparative pay scale. Organizations should consider the wages paid by similar organization in the industry for similar jobs. When an organization pay less than the prevailing wages to its employees, its workforce strength would erode due to high labor turnover. Next, cost of living. At the times of living crisis, the cost of living emerges as a major factor in determining the salary levels of the employees. When there is an upward the movement in the cost of living, the real wages decline, affecting the purchasing power of the employees. Due to the changes in the cost of living, organizations usually keep a portion of the employees' compensation, such as dearness allowance, in a variable form. Fifth, collective bargaining. The strength of the union is one of the important influencing factors in compensation administration. When the unions in an organization are strong, the wage agreements are usually concluded in favor of the employees. This is because these unions exert strong pressure on the employers both internally and externally during the wage negotiations. Sixth, technology. The level and sophistication of the technology available in the industry can also influence compensation administration. When the manually performed jobs are easily and effectively replaceable with existing technology, the organization may not be inclined to offer higher wages for such jobs. Seventh, geographical location. The location of the organization is also a major factor influencing compensation administration. When the organization is located in cities or urban areas, it may have to hire employees for higher wages due to the high cost of living prevailing in these areas. Eighth, globalization. It has brought in several multinational companies to the country. The compensation policies and philosophies of these globalized companies have begun to influence and shape the HR and wage practices of the Indian companies. As a result, domestic firms are now offering several innovative compensation schemes on a par with foreign companies to attract and retain the efficient employees. Internal factors. The internal factors influencing the compensation administration are also significant in number. First, capacity of the organization to pay. Organizations may have the willingness to pay more compensation to their employees, but they may not have the financial ability to do so. Understandably, the financial strength of the organization is one of the highly critical factors that determine compensation administration. Second, corporate policies and philosophy. Corporate philosophy, mission, and vision statements provide overall directions to the entire organization, and this include its compensation administration. Organizations may deliberately pay the industry's best wages and salary to attract and retain the high caliber employees. Third, human resource policies and strategies. The HR policies of an organization which deal with various aspects of human resource management also influence compensation administration. They usually form the basis for the terms and conditions of the employment. Fourth, performance evaluation report. Compensation administration is also influenced by performance evaluation results, evaluation report, job description, and job specification statement. The employee's performance assessed through performance evaluation techniques may be used for determining the wage levels of the employees. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. Employee compensation is a vital issue in human resource management. Compensation consists of base pay and supplementary remuneration. Wage and salary administration seeks to provide justice to both employer and employees. The principles of wage and salary administration are the basic guidelines: internal equity, external competitiveness, built-in incentives linked with productivity, maintenance of real wages, and suitable increments are the essentials of a sound wages and suitable increments are the essentials of a sound wage and salary structure. Thank you.